All right, the other factor is housing conditions. Housing conditions. This is another factor that affects the development of a child. This may make a very big difference to a young child. Some children may have a lot of space. They may have a lot of space as well as comfort and a garden, whilst others may not have that. So here is a child who has got a house. The house is big enough to house them. The house is comfortable, but apart from the house, they have got a garden where they can go play. Others, they do not have that. And housing conditions that can affect a child's physical or social or as well as emotional developments are there. You may have a tiny house, but maybe the small house is comfortable. However, no matter how comfortable it can be, but as long as the space is limited, it is going to have some effects on the development of the child. So, some of the conditions that could affect a child's physical development is, the first one is having to share a bedroom with other children. Housing conditions that can affect child's physical or social as well as emotional development is one, sharing a bedroom with other children. How can sharing a bedroom with other children affect a child's emotional, physical, as well as social development? If a child is sharing the room with somebody else, how can this affect the development of a child? Or can it not? So you've got a small house. Here is a father and a mother they have got their own room, but this house has got about, say, 3 bedrooms. So one for the parents, one for the boys, and one for the girls. That's ideal, right? 2 girls can share the same room. But a scenario where mother and father, 1 bedroom, and they've got 2 girls and a boy, or 2 boys and 2 girls who are supposed to share 1 room. So we are saying these kind of conditions, they are going to affect the children socially, emotionally, as well as physically. 1, these people are not going to know how to manage their space. When you've got your own bedroom, you make your own mess, you know where to put what, how to put your things together and all that. But at the same time, emotionally, you've got your brother or you've got your sister within the same room. It is not going to do the child good. The other factor, as far as housing condition is concerned, is limited indoor or outdoor space. Apart from housing conditions, having to share a bedroom with other children, another factor under the same house that is going to affect the child is limited outdoor or indoor space. Limited indoor or outdoor space. The child is supposed to play inside the house. The child is supposed to play outside. So if there is no space, then this is going to be a problem. What he or she is going to find outside is going to be different from what she's going to play with inside. All these are important in as far as the brain development is concerned. So they go outside, they see things in their natural setting. They will play with grass, they will play with insects, they will play with the soil, they will play with whatever they can find outside. Their brain is being stimulated differently. They come inside the house, they want to play. they are also going to play with things that are different from that which is found outside. So when they are using the both spaces, their brain is also developing differently. But if the child doesn't have this, then they are going to be affected. The other one is lack of heating. Lack of heating. How warm is a child? Is a house warm enough, or it is a kind of house which has got walls, the windows are not closed and all that. During the night, the child is cold. Lack of cleanliness. Lack of cleanliness.
Lack of
cleanliness in the house, yes, another factor under the housing conditions. And the last one is stressful relationships within the household. Stressful relationships within the household. So day in, day out, the little ones are exposed to parents fighting, brother and sister rivalry. So stressful relationships within the household. It's not always the parents that would fight, even the brothers would also fight. So for those, the little ones that are growing up, this is kind of stressful. A balanced diet, regular exercise, enough sleep, balanced diet, enough sleep, regular exercise, and conditional love from adults. So the adults in the house, the way they treat the little ones matters. Are they too busy to take care of them? Are they too busy to listen to their little nonsense that they always bring out? Oh, this has happened today. Can you see this? All those things that the children will bring forth for you, the attention of the adults. If they are attended to, they are going to grow. If they are not going to be attended to, that is also going to be the problem. So unconditional love from adults is also going to help them grow socially, emotionally, as well as physically. So, all of this under the house is going to help the children grow and develop in the best way when everything is available. However, for a number of reasons, children may be denied some or all of them. You can find some are missing, some are present, most of them are missing. In other houses, you find most of what we have listed are present. But then, the poor diet, lack of exercise or sleep will make a difference to a child's emotional and physical development. Even as an adult, when you haven't taken a lot of sleep, you become cranky. You are the kind of person that can easily be irritated. A child that feels like sleeping is crying. A child that's sleepy cries all the time. So that is going to affect the emotional development of a child over time. If that is happening over and over again, then eventually this person is going to develop otherwise. Another factor is the impact of technology. Not under household, but this one now is a general factor that affects development of children. The impact of technology. Eric, are you here? Yes. Okay. So the impact of technology on children's development may be positive or negative. Children should be exposed to technology and given opportunities to use and understand it. So how you are going to expose or how you are going to allow your children to use a technology is going to determine whether technology is bad or good. So too much time spent on it or spent looking at computers or tablets may mean that children are not having enough opportunities to initiate play and investigate their own environment. Much as development is happening in one area of the brain, another area is suffering. So you may allow the children to spend most of their time on TV or on tablets or on computers. They may not really be doing anything bad. They could be exploring on the TV or on the internet. But the point is, it is also necessary for children to go outside and play so that they can explore their environment. It is also important that children should socialize with others. Put all the gadgets down and play with people, with real people with blood running in their veins. That is also going to stimulate another part of their brains. So you will find that kids that are not allowed or that spend more time on their gadgets, they tend to be quiet, or they tend to be not very playful when they are amongst their friends, because for them life is that which they find when they start playing on the tablets, but they don't know how to approach someone in real life. They don't know how to strike a friendship with new people. So it is advisable to make sure that much as they are spending time on tablets, computers, and whatever they can have, they should also have enough time to play and to investigate their environment for themselves. So far, is there any question? So as they are going out to explore their environment, as they are going out to be sociable with their friends, they are also developing language. Language development is also happening. So they are going to enhance their vocabulary. So we said, the more they acquire language, the more they become confident. When they are confident, they are going to interact more. When they interact more, development is even going further. Another factor is opportunities to attend early years setting. Opportunities to attend early years setting also contributes to a child's development. Opportunities to attend an early years setting. When you're talking about early years setting, we're talking about things like preschool, a nursery, or a child minder. So if a child has got a chance to attend a preschool, a nursery, or a child minder, they have got a chance to meet friends. They socialize with other children. So they socialize and meet other children, as well as take advantage of learning opportunities. So as this is happening, there is also development taking place. So you find someone who is going to standard 1, but they have never been to a preschool or a nursery school. They are going to be different from a child that has been to a preschool, nurseries, a preschool, and then they have learned before getting into standard 1. You will find them, they know their shapes, they know their colors, they know names of animals. A lot of things are going to be in this child that has been to preschool. But the one that hasn't been, has been home, and then goes to standard 1, the teacher has to start from the scratch. This is number 1, this is A, this is B. But that one who has gone through nursery school, you may discover they are already able to count from 1 to 50 before they get to standard 1. So opportunities to attend early setting is going to influence the development of the child. Others, those that have got the opportunity to attend, their development is faster, their brain is stimulated faster than the others. However, it does not mean that the kids that have been exposed to early years setting are going to be always best or better than the others. Those that haven't been exposed to this early setting, they may be late in other parts of development, but the moment they are exposed to the same environment, they can catch up and even become better than the ones that have been to preschool. Another factor that affects the development of a child is poverty. Children who are brought up in poverty are more likely to struggle in each area of development. Children that are brought up in poverty, they are more likely to struggle in each area of development. But of course, this may not always be the case. It may not always be the case. Being poor does not automatically mean children are deprived. Being poor does not mean children are automatically deprived. However, poverty is likely going to have some negative effect. Would you agree that poverty is going to affect a child's development? How?
It is saying that for a child to grow better, he or she needs some good care in terms of the environment, the food which it eats, and the like. So you find that a child is grown up in a poverty situation is limited to get access to different things such as playing and the like. So as you have mentioned, like when a kid is hungry, it's unfortunate for it to go and interact with others. Unfortunately, that particular kid will miss some of every lessons on how can miss in terms of cognitive. So some abilities will not be developed because it is limited to some other things.
All right. So, in your statement, cognitively development is going to be affected.
Yes.
Socially, it is going to be affected. Can poverty affect the physical development of a child? Can poverty affect the physical development of a child?
Yes.
How?
Once a child, physical development goes with muscles, development of muscles and legs. And for the muscles to grow, it needs some food, some good food in the legs. So if a child, we have heard about malnutrition. So malnutrition affects more especially kids who are under 5. So which means their muscles will not grow as normal, which will affect their physical strength. So if they are not eating food, they will be affected physically.
All right. So, in the absence of good food, the body is going to be malnourished, and therefore development physically is going to be affected. Another one is family structure. That can also another factor. Family structure. When a home is It is a loving home. It creates the best environment for children to develop and learn. There are different types of families. There is one which is known as a nuclear family with two parents, usually a father and a mother and their children. That's a nuclear family. So I am saying a loving home creates the best environment for children to learn and develop. So there are many different types of families, including one which is known as a nuclear family, Nuclear, where we are talking about a mother and father and children within the house. And then there is another one, which is a single parent family. Single parent family, this is also a kind of a family whereby the children are raised by one parent. It could either be the father, it could either be the mother only. And the last one is the extended family. So these types of families, they may have an impact on the growth of the child. When you're talking about the extended family, we're talking about a family which may include the grandparents, aunts, cousins, uncles within the same house. So here is a mother and a father and children, and the parents of the parents are still there. The brothers of whether the mother and the father, they are still there. So it's an extended family. The cousins are within the same place. So this kind of settings, in one way or the other, it affects the development of a child. So regardless whether it is a single parent house, or a single parent family, extended family, whether it's a nuclear family, what is going to affect or how it is going to affect the child, it is when the families are secure, or they are loved, or they are confident, willing to try new things. These things, if they are present, it is not going to be affected by the type of family. It can be a one-parent family, but if the one-parent family is managing the house properly, the child is going to develop okay. It could be an extended family, but if the extended family, it is secure, the children are going to grow up okay. So these children, if they are growing up in an extended family, they are going to have a special kind of character within them that is going to be absent from the nucleus family. True, right? So you discover that children that are growing in a house where there are more people, when they grow up themselves, they won't find problems in incorporating more people in their houses, or they are kind of welcoming. For those that have grown in a nucleus family, whether it's about me, my father, and my brothers, these ones are also they've got a different character from the ones that are growing in an extended family. But bottom line is, regardless of the family type, children who have a secure family life and feel loved are more confident, and therefore they are willing to try new activities in life. And the other factor is looked after children. Looked after children. When you find the word LSC, lack, it means looked after children. What do you think? Who are these? Looked after children. Lack. These are children who are under care of local authority. Children who are under care of the local authority. So every child is looked after, but why is it that these ones are specifically known as looked after children? Because they are taken care of by the local authority. So looked after children are most likely to be cared for within the community by foster parents. But some may be at home with their parents, supported by a local team of social workers, or they may be in a residential children's home. or a secure unit. So when we are talking about the looked after children, we are talking about children that are taken care of by the local authority. They can be living with their parents, but their parents, they are not taking the sole responsibility to look after this. Social workers also come in to help them. So they are being looked after by the parents, but also the social workers. Sometimes you can find these looked after children in special places where they could be called residential children homes or secure units. Being looked after can have an effect on a child's social or emotional development. It is different to grow in your own house with your own parents and everybody else. It is also a different thing to grow in a secure unit where you actually know, I don't have parents here. The people today I'm going to be taken care of by this mother tomorrow, or maybe they exchange after a week or so. So as they're growing up, they get used to it, but somewhere, somehow, they are affected socially. So their development, emotionally as social and as well as socially, is going to be affected. Looked after children, they may not be, or they may not have a privilege to grow up in one home through their life. Maybe from 1 to 4 years they grow up in one home. From 5 to 6, somebody else picks them. From 8 to, these people are growing in different environments, different homes, different treatments. So that is going to affect their development. If their first house was a secure family, their second house is something else different. This child is going to go through stuff, and development is going to be affected. They may not have the secure life and may be less confident and less trusting of adults. So we've been hearing about orphanages. These are places where we keep children that are looked after. You can have a parent that is a drug addict or that is a drunkard. What happens? The parent is going to be raising the children, yes, but there are going to be outside eyes that will also be helping. They're making sure that the children are having what they are supposed to. Their rights are being observed. Is there a question so far on what we have talked about? No? Life events, another factor. What are some of the life events that can affect development? Life events that can affect development. Death of loved ones, yes. Death of loved ones that can affect the development of a child. What else? Right. Any change can be difficult for a very young child. Any change in life can be difficult for a child, a young child, as they will be happiest when they feel settled in a family routine. So if there is a routine that a child is going through or that they are used to, the moment that routine is disturbed, the child is also going to be disturbed. Sometimes adults can prepare the little ones for a change. If they know what is going to happen, it's possible. Say maybe a parent is very sick and here is a little child who is supposed to be prepared. But now the challenge would be, in case of that, someone is sick and is about to die, you're trying to tell a little one to say this one is going to die. Do they really understand what death is? So you're busy telling it, you know your mom is going to die, your mom is going to go to heaven. All these are abstracts. So what is heaven? Or maybe when she goes to heaven, she's going to come back. So you are telling it about death. You've got your own concepts in mind. The child has got her own concepts. So you go bury the mom and then you come back. Here is a child who is thinking, my mom was going to heaven, but someday she's going to come. But that someday is not coming. So she is living in a kind of life whereby she's waiting for her mom. And then eventually she starts feeling, my mom has abandoned me, my mom doesn't love me. So she is nursing these kind of feelings within her. My mom doesn't love me and blah, blah. So this child is going to grow up less trusting adults. Why? My mom lied to me. So my point is, any change in a routine of a child is difficult for them. But sometimes when an adult is able to prepare the child what is coming ahead, they should be able to do that. They should do that to their children so that they should know about the change. However, there are times we try to explain to them, but because their young minds haven't developed yet, they may not understand us fully. So that will still leave something in them which is going to affect their kind of development. Some life events are unpredictable, and children will need support and reassurance from those that are around them. If a child has lost a parent, and then you are telling them your mother has gone to heaven, it doesn't have to end there. Keep on telling the child. Keep on reassuring the child, or keep on explaining so that the child gets to understand. But at the same time, there should be adults around this child that are going to assume the role of the mother that departed. They may not do it fully, but at least the child has to grow up knowing, okay, in the absence of my mother, I can always run to this person and get what I am looking for. So, these things are supposed to be handled sensitively. Sometimes life events could be war. A child that has gone through war is also the development is going to be affected. At a very tender age, they experience a lot of things. They have watched things that in a normal setting, you don't expect a little child to see them. Maybe they have seen their mother being killed. Maybe they may not really understand that my mom is dying, but they know that my mom is going through pain. Blood is gushing out. Maybe the head has been beheaded. They know there's something abnormal about this, but they are watching that. That is going to affect them as they are growing up. There are other life events that we forget. Some of the things that you guys did when you were young, you can't remember them. But there are other things that you still remember up until now. It affects you in one way or the other. Others, you simply remember them, but they don't have a direct impact on who you are today. And Bliss is not supposed to be in this class. That was her first year, her first semester, last semester? Her second. No, she's in the third?
Second year.
Oh, okay. Second year, first semester. Okay, so if a child has come from a war-torn country and then goes as a refugee to some other country, these early babysitting places can also help to nurse them from whatever they have gone through. So whatever life event, an event that happens to a child, it is going to contribute to the development of the child. Whether it is a good event, whether it is a bad event, all these events are going to contribute to the development of a child. Sometimes these bad events, they are going to help the child to mature faster than they are supposed to. So you find a little child about 5, 6 years old, they are taking care of another child. What is happening? A life event has made them to think more, or has helped their brains to start thinking better than a normal child who's in the home that has got heat, food, TV, gadgets, and all. So they can't develop in that area because they don't know what else is there outside. But here is a child who has experienced a life event. The life event hasn't broken the child. but it has actually helped it grow even better and mature in that area. Even though that it is a kind of maturity that is not desirable. However, maturity has happened. So I am saying some events have got can have positive effects, others may have a negative effects. What are examples of some events that we'll talk about? Death of a loved one. But again, another event that can happen within a home that can affect the development of a child is the arrival of a new sibling. The firstborn in the family. And then they've got a brother or a sister who has arrived. That's an event. So parents may take it easy to say, oh yeah, we've got a second child and everything is fine. But is it fine for the child that was already there? So new sibling is another kind of event that can affect the development of a child. Have you ever experienced this, or have you ever seen this, where a child fights a newborn? Have you ever seen it? So you are the one that do the fighting. You are the ones that do the fighting. Okay. So what happens normally is that here is a mother who is pregnant and gives birth to a child, and she has another older child. This older child, if she or he was not prepared properly, feels replaced. So before this one came, I was the one that was sitting on mom's lap. Before this one came, I was the one that was doing A, B, C, D, E. But it looks like this one is taking my space, is taking my attention. Mom is always, she has her in the hands all the time. So there is, if the mother is concentrating fully on the new one and neglecting this one, there is a problem there. The other thing is, did you prepare this one to say, sometime very soon we are going to have a brother and so on and so forth? So what normally happens is, when the older child sees this, they regress. If they were able to do a few things in life, they stop doing that. Sometimes it is a way of calling for attention. Sometimes it is because they have been disturbed emotionally. So the other things that they were able to do by themselves, they stop. What is this? They have regressed or they go backwards. So development there has been delayed as well. So, why do they do that? They want to do that to gain attention. The mother has to attend to me as well. So if you've got, mothers have to make sure that attention has to be divided equally. However, this is an event for this older child. So such kind of events can be managed. So maybe when the baby is sleeping, you pick up the older child. So the older child knows, okay, I am still part of the family. Or you take the older baby and ask it to help in taking care of this one. Can you give me a baby snappy? Can you give me? So you send it on errands so that it should know that this baby that has arrived, it is for all of us. Can you try to do this to the baby? So the older one is going to start getting busy. And as that is happening, they don't fight. But if you're going to take sole responsibility and neglect the other one, there is a problem. This one is going to regress. Why are they regressing? They are trying to attract the attention of the parents. So not every child is going to dislike the arrival of a new sibling. Others are going to like it, others may not. But it all depends on how the parents prepare their older children. Another event could be starting a new setting. When children start something new, or when they move to a new setting, they may feel unsettled a bit. So parents are supposed to give the children opportunity to ask questions. a new setting or move to a new place, it's unsettling. What is happening? You have broken that routine that we've talked about. So here is a child that has been moved from one school to another. When they go to the other school, it's a new place altogether. So socially, they are affected. Emotionally, they are affected. They don't have friends. They don't know the teachers. But eventually, of course, they are going to get along. Another event that can also affect children is a moving house. Moving house can be exciting. And children normally, they enjoy it. So, adults can make it into an experience for children, particularly if they are going to have a new bedroom or they are going to move into a property with a feature that excites them as a garden. So when you're moving from one house to another, it is an event for the little ones. So adults can take an advantage over this by explaining to them, we are moving to this house, you are going to have your own bedroom. Then you know there's a garden that you can go play with it. There is this, there is a TV room. So the children, yes, it is a change of routine, but they are excited because there's something new that is coming. But imagine you're moving from a big house to a small house. That is going to have an effect on the child. So the excitement is now on the opposite side. But at the same time, as you're moving from house to house, you're also leaving friends behind. That is also something that is going to affect the emotional as well as the social part of a child. Alfonso? Is there anyone who has a question so far?
Imagine, is it like there are some life events which can be get rid of, not they cannot really affect the development of a child?
Well, are there life events that cannot affect the development of a child? What do you think?
I think some are more like shifting of the houses and like the coming of the new baby.
They cannot?
They cannot affect the
development.
development of a child like in future.
Like
They can-
later in the years?
Yeah.
Okay. Some are temporal, others are permanent. For example, the shifting of a house, it could be permanent, it can also be temporary. Imagine you're moving from a bigger house to a smaller house where you have to share your room with your sister. And then you have to stay there from 5 years until maybe 17, somewhere thereabout. Eventually, even after you move out of there are going to be some traces of that kind of life that are going to be in you. You're talking about arrival of a new sibling. This can be a lifelong thing. If the parent is careless to the point that this one is neglected too much, so she or he, it is going to grow up feeling unloved. So this is the kind of a person you're raising. Mom doesn't love me, she loves her last born. So here is a house that has got, houses that have got 3 people are normally difficult. The middle one feels unloved. Anyone who's coming from a house that has got 3? Okay. Who is in the middle amongst you guys that have raised your hand? You are the middle. Can you tell us, if you don't mind, can you tell us your experience?
My big sister and my brother.
They are friends.
Yeah.
That's what happens. So the middle one is going to feel unloved because even if you are 5 in a family, what happens is the first one is going to be a friend of the third one. The second one is going to be a friend of the fourth one. But in rare cases, the first and second are going to be friends. Why? If it goes back to that, if the mother raised them in a way that the first one came, when the second one was coming, the first one was pushed aside, there is a sibling rivalry because the first one now feels jealousy of this one. Everything is about my brother. Everything is about my brother. Why is it that by the end of the day, they don't get along? So if you talk about the arrival of a sibling, this one, if you're not taken care of, it makes a long life experience. It sticks for a longer period of time. So a house that has got three, most of the times, the middle one feels left out because the first is a friend of the last. The first one, for the parents, is my firstborn. The last one is my lastborn. Who is this one? I'm sorry, I'm not trying to, you don't have anything on you. You don't have a name. You're not the last, you're not the first. You're simply in the middle. So you are caught in between the two people. So most of the times, it's a kind of a situation that needs to be handled. But as the kids grow up, they kind of try to manage themselves. But sometimes it goes a long way. I'm coming from a family of 8 people. I actually see this. The first one, the second born, we don't get along. Me and the immediate brother, we hardly talk. I don't know. I can't put things on paper to say this is A, this is why we don't get along. We just don't get along. But me and the sister that comes before him, we are good friends. So the arrival of a new sibling is most of the times something that it is an event for the kids, something that has to be handled well. Otherwise, it brings about lifelong problems. So development emotionally, most of the times, the emotional part, that is what is affected. It may not be the language, it may not be the cognitive development, it may not be the learning development, but the emotional part is affected. We can go on. All right, another factor is not under event. Not under events, but another factor that influences development is interventions in early childhood. Interventions in early childhood. So, early childhood is a time of remarkable brain development, like we said. And learning and development is most rapid during these early childhood years. The future development is based on the child's learning during the early years. So, the early learning is kind of like a foundation where now you put your building blocks as you grow. So, the early years are going to set up how a child will learn and develop later in life. If you provide quality early childhood interventions in a child's life supports, this is going to help the child later as it has grown. So, if you're going to support a child to develop the skills they need to take part in their everyday life or everyday activities, they are going to do well later in life. So, are you simply feeding and giving it a bed? They sleep, they wake up, they eat, they play, they go back to bed, and is that the kind of life that you're giving to the little ones? What else are you doing? What other skills are you imparting in the little ones to make sure that they can use those skills later in life? So we are saying, providing quality early childhood interventions in a child's life supports, it supports the children to develop skills that they need in their everyday life activities. Can I repeat? I don't know what I said. Can someone repeat it on my behalf? What have you written so far?
It supports develop skills in their everyday lives.
It supports what?
It supports
Mhm.
children to develop skills in their everyday life.
It supports children to develop skills in their early day, in the what?
In their everyday life.
In their everyday life. Okay, so what you need to do, you simply need to say interventions. Interventions in children supports them to develop skills and finish off with the sentence. You have read it. You're good. But then, maybe you can simply add on to say, when you help them to develop skills in their everyday life, then it is going to help them later in life. The skills that you help them acquire during the early years, they're going to help the children's life later in life. Also, when you instill skills or when you teach the learners, or not the learners, the children skills, different types of skills, when they grow up later in life, they are less dependent. When you impart skills in children during their early years, when they grow up, they are less dependent. True, right? They are able to surf through life because you have given them the hows to. So they can do things on their own. They become independent. But if you are going to raise a child in a way that they are always calling their mom for help, how do I do this? I have come across, how am I supposed to take help? They are going to go through life like that, looking for help. But when they have grown up to be tough, they have grown up with skills in life, then they will be able to go sail through life in a way that is going to be helpful to them. All right, early children intervention, which is also known as ECI, is a support and educational system for very young children aged from birth to 6 years. Is a support and educational system for very young children aged birth to 6 years who have been victims or who are at high risk for child abuse. Or who have developmental delays or disabilities. Who have mental delays or disabilities. A support and educational system for very young children aged birth to 6 years who have been victims or who are at high risk for child abuse, as well as those that have got developmental delays or disabilities. However, it is not limited to children with these disabilities. When you're talking about childhood interventions, it's not limited to this kind of children. You can intervene in different areas, even to normal children, like we're saying, giving them skills so that they should be able to sail through life properly.